Hello everyone, another Klaus here, and today guys I'm gonna review one of my mocks from the project S, so a project of course which consists into revamping, remaking all the 12 slicer sets into a more modern canisters sized mock in fact. So this project was made by me and Shadow, so we split up the 12 slicers in half of course, and this means I had to mock six slicers, and Shadows the same, the six other slicers. And today I'm gonna review one of my mocks, so one of the slicers I made, and it's going to be Spark. So remember, we review the mocks not really in the order of their release, so this means we will not really review the set in the same order as the sets were released. So, for example, all the good guys and the bad guys, and then the second wave. No, we're gonna review them in the order we build them. So this means after Ice and Sub, I build Spark. So of course, he's a guy from the second wave, with Flare and Blaster. So by the way, I'm just gonna do a little tournament first, then I'm gonna put off some parts, and I will explain the construction in details. So of course you can see the color scheme is the same as original, so this means using black color and purple. And well, the control for the turner one, I'm gonna put off the rocket launcher first, and the shield also. Shield. Then I'm gonna talk about the legs, and then I will talk about the body frame. So maybe I'm gonna put some parts off already, so it will be easier for me to explain and to move the model, because it's quite bulky, so it's quite hard to manipulate to show you the little details. So also excuse me, because with artificial light, the black color really is quite hard to show you. So well, but here's the lower part, and all the legs work. So in fact, I'm gonna just put off this part. And you will see that it's a custom double connector, so this means using two connectors, so two normal ones, and then link them thanks to little parts. So for example, here on the rear part, then on this side, and on the other side is the same, but with a smaller part, and also well of course it's a smaller part, and also a Baroque eye. And then the front section didn't really have any parts to link the two connectors together. Instead, it's just some decoration parts. So for example, you got these little ones with a T-shaped part, and also this one with a little purple hose pipe, which is really useful to add some purple to the overall color scheme, and also a technique panel. And finally, on this side, because you can see there is an axle which you can clearly see, we're gonna link this Montax foot. So, well, at first it was released in Montax. Links thanks to the little T-shaped part right here, and put off this technique panel part, and here we go. You have the legs. This first part of the legs, so quite bulky, and we have a nice shape. Also, I really wanted to use this part because it was quite big and bulky, and also it has really a nice shape with some curves and stuff like that. Then I'm gonna link an Vaki leg, so this one. On there, I choose a Vaki leg because well, the double connector is already quite long, so I already quite tall, so I didn't really want to have some really long legs and to have a long body with that. So this means using this Vaki part, and also it's a bulkier. I think this is a bulkier leg, except for the Inika one. So by the way, just some little details. Then some Metro whip cage right here. I'm gonna link on this part to, of course, add some bulkiness to overall cells, overall mock, excuse me. And the same goes for the foot, which are quite simple, the feet. And here, of course, it's a left foot, which I used the two Inika foot linked together. So thanks to, it's really a technique I already use with my warlords, and also it's a technique used on many mocks. So it's not a technique I invented, in fact I created. I take it from some other mockers on a bookshelf. And the second leg is the same, so I'm not gonna explain this anymore. So here's the legs, all the works. You just have to know how to build, you just have to understand how this part is made, in fact. Nothing really interesting apart from this section, I think. Then we have then I link vacuum pelvis part, so you can recognize it with the little holes. On this part, then I'm gonna link this little part plus this slicer foot in purple, so again to add some purple color to the overall color shell. And also notice that I have a slicer body frame, and of course it's well, here it kind of seems it's floating in the air because it's linked thanks to this part, in fact, or at least these two parts, because you can easily recognize the two axles, and well, these two axles, we're gonna link them into these two axle holes. So this means using a RoboRider's head, excuse me, and then this part, and of course I link this black part thanks to the little axle pinhole and an axle right here. And well, I have two axles, so also notice little parts to cover the holes, the little black parts. So I'm gonna link this part together, and that's how, in fact, the vacuum pelvis part and the slicer body frame are linked together, thanks to these two little RoboRiders plus the other part section. And also this on the back, we're gonna have a third RoboRider head, RoboRider's head, but this time in black, and easily linked to thanks to this part, and it's worked pretty well. And that's all for the lower section part. In fact, yes, maybe I'm gonna just link this little excuse me, waxy head like that, which will be useful to the overall shape of the mock, in fact. And then also notice this part, which is linked thanks to two little pins parts. So in the middle I put this little part, and then here also this part, which will be useful to link the, some upper parts pieces. And here's the upper part. So in fact, it's just an Inika body frame, you can see right here, so with the two ball joints for the arms, stuff like that, the connector parts which will be linked to a Ordica neck plus the slicer head itself, so nothing really complicated for the head right here. Also notice just this little Inika shoulder armor, which will be useful to the back part, in fact, to have some more details on the back of the mock, and also these two parts which will be useful to well, to the overall design. But I think we're going to set it later on, because first of all I'm going to explain the arms, then the four weapons on the back, and then I will link the two sections together and talk about the applications. So I think I'm going to talk about the arms first. So in fact they are quite simple because they work quite the leg, so this means using two connectors to make a double connector, a custom double connector. So this time the two connectors are linked thanks to this curved part, which will this time also be useful to link this throwing disc arm right here, so kind of like my ice mock, in fact. And then to other details, notice the part here, shoulder, a slicer shoulder armor link here to have also again some purple color. And finally, again, I choose to put some non-tax part right here to have really some bulky shoulder arm section. And then again, I've used a vacuum arm, well, vacuum legs used as an arm, and then the classic construction of a more bulky end or bulkier end. So this means using a connector plus a slicer foot linked to a T-shaped part. The same goes for second arm, except that there is not the throwing disc arm, of course. And then you've got the four weapons, weapons on the back. At first, my original idea was just to put a big rocket launcher and then two rocket launchers on one shoulder, and finally I decided to put four of them on the back. So this means, well, you get what you see here. There's two different types of rocket launchers. The first one is the longest one, the tallest one, so this means using a double connector, then slicer arm, Titan connector, and then this section, so this means this part, and then a wheel to have kind of like the tip of the rocket launcher, and then this Inika, this Puraka shoulder armor, not shoulder, leg armor, leg armor or tight armor, but right here, of course, thanks to these little parts. The same goes for this one. And also notice that this section is exactly the same on this rocket launcher on the side. The only difference, in fact, is all there are links, because this time there are no connectors. Instead, I've put these two little parts with one axle hole and one pin hole, which are really useful to make some articulations. And now I'm gonna link these two parts together. So notice the little pin and axle parts right there, and also the little pin parts right here. So of course we're gonna link these two parts into this pin hole and this axle hole. Like that, so we link easily. And finally, of course, because we can't let it just this part empty, I'm gonna link this classic holder foot, also little details with the little purple gear right here. Excuse me. Also notice these parts, of course, with an axle and one pin, which will be useful to do the same thing, but on the front section this time, and also this part, which will be directly linked into this part. Well, you can't really see that because it's quite dark, but and here we go. Excuse me. Finally, we've got these two parts. We're gonna link, not really link, but put them on the other foot. And we are close to the end. In fact, we are near to the end of the construction, because now there is still left one weapon, which is the big rocket launcher. So it's just made with some part of tires right here, plus a big wheels on the other side. Some little gears right there. And here notice the little T-shaped part between the two tires part, which will be linked to an axle of 3 on this end, right here. And finally, you got the shield, because, well, one of the most interesting part of the original set was that he got a shield, in fact, so we decided to redone the shield. So with using two panels, so the original Technic panel part and then a longer one. And then on this side, you got some these little parts which will be useful to make some different position with the shield. So this means, for example, putting the shield on the side of the arm, which is really cool, I have to say. And this shield was, well, the technique to make the shield turn in some ways was made by Shadow. But, well, you know, when you mock at with two persons at the same time, sometimes you just give ideas to the other guy and stuff like that. So it's really helped to make the mock advanced and to make it done quickly, in fact. And here we go for the, well, that's Spark for you. So now I'm going to talk about the articulation, which are quite limited because, of course, I use many big parts and stuff like that. So, well, first of all, you got the legs. So the legs can go up until this point because, of course, they block on the Robo Rider's head. Then you turn this knee part, which block at 90 degrees. And finally, the foot, which is not really a big problem. So you can turn this in different position, no problems at all. Then you got the arm, which were quite the same, except that, of course, on the shoulder section, there is no big problem. You can see. Then you've got the elbow section, which block again at 90 degrees. No big problem for the hands. And of course, the shield can turn, as you can see, in different positions. You've got the head then, which can look up. Well, which can also block, in fact. Block is the neck. But, well, it can look up and on the side without any big problem. And of course, it can't really look down, but it's really supposed to touch the body. In fact, it's really that was one of the ideas behind this mock. It was really that it was really supposed to be full of armor and bulky. So this means the head was really supposed to, well, kind of be molded into the body. In fact. And finally, you got still some articulation left. So of course, you got this one with the throwing disc arm and the fact that it can throw some disc. Just have to put this in this way, and here you go. And you got the 4 rocket launchers. So of course here you got 2 ball joints, and here you just got some well, some rotation points. And I think we're gonna see how it transforms right now. So just have to turn this part. Like this. And then I'm gonna do this two middle rocket launchers. Put this on the side. Well, in fact, you can choose whether where you want to put the two one. If you want, for example, to put them like this or not. So I'm just gonna do that this way personally. And I think that will be all for this guy. So here's his mod, is really a big attack mod. So, excuse me, just add some buffs. And well, here we go, I think. So I'm going to do a turnaround of the mock itself. Oh yeah, excuse me, some parts just go in. Yes, because this part really tend to move around, and that's really a problem. So hope it didn't disturb you. So well, I think that's quite all. You got the two rocket launcher right here, or the 4-1. And I think that's quite all, so maybe gonna do a pause, even if it's quite hard, because it's quite, of course, it's very bulky, heavy, the execution are quite limited at 90 degrees, so this means you can do the pause you want. Also, the rocket launcher quite blocks the movement, I have to say. So it's quite hard to really make a pause. Again, also, it really supposed to be an heavy guy, I think, which just fire from the back of the battleground, even if I'm not supposed there. If I don't suppose in the storylines they will be in a total war, but still, so it's really quite hard to make some pause without him falling in some side or stuff like that. As you can see, because yeah, it already falling off. So yeah, I'm gonna do just, I think, keep him like that, this way. And I think this will be all for Spark, guys. So, yes, there is some problem with this mock, of course. There are some problems, of course. So, the execution problems, the fact that it's quite too heavy, and sometimes the big parts kind of block the movement. So, I'm not really pleased with that aspect of the mock, but apart from that, I think that it's a pretty okay mock, seriously, because, well, the overall design is, I think, is work pretty well with the big rocket launcher, the 4 little ones on the back of the mock, the shield which really look pretty nice also. I'm quite proud of my me custom frame, because it's used an Nika frame, of course, but well, it works pretty nice. The same goes for the legs and stuff like that. So I quite like the overall design of this set, of this mock, because it was quite I had in my mind, in fact, before beginning the construction. So worked pretty well, apart from the execution, I have to say, which are really a big problem, and I'm not really happy with that. But apart from that, I think that's quite all. So hope you enjoyed this review, guys, and also hope you enjoyed the mock. And of course, if you have any questions or comments about this mock, feel free to post them on the comment section of this video. I will happily answer them, and I think that's quite all. So hope you enjoyed this review, the mock, and see you later for another, excuse me, Bionicle video reviews. Bye bye.